Having looked for Moonshine Still, it was real early. It was back in 1986 that a friend of mine told me about his father's liquor still who had retired. Having a permit in 1986 to actually make corn liquor, we made 10 gallons. And the revenues came down about a week before we were able to run it off, and looked at us and said, "Looks like you're going to make about 5 gallons. I've seen a lot of them that size," and turned around and walked off. This was about a week before we were going to run it during a festival. And he turned around and looked at me and said, "This has been in my family several generations. It's never made less than 10 gallons. Well, sure enough, it made over 10 gallons, and the revenue didn't show up at 12 o'clock like it was supposed to. Well, I sat down with the moonshiner, and he said, "You know, we don't want to make him a liar." So he put a few gallons in the woods. I took a small amount for medicinal purposes, and I had in the morning walked back out from the mill, and he showed up and said, "Yes, it's about what I figured to make." It was about 5 gallons, and he poured it in front of everybody into the creek. And I asked him, I said, "You wouldn't say anything if the doctor hid a little bit for medicinal purposes, would you?" He looked at me and said, "Just don't tell me, Doc." I said, "Okay, I won't." So, what are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah. Are you a drinker? Well, give me a few days and we'll have you some, okay? Yeah. The following year, again, we got another permit to run moonshine, but I was late in getting it. And I get a phone call in the office a day before the festival. And the people have spotted this liquor still from the air searching for marijuana fields. And they said, "We need to get in your gate because we've spotted a liquor still on your property." Well, my wife was in a church meeting, and I called up and I said, "Get her out of the church meeting and have her come by the office. The letter for the permit should be in the mail today." Luckily it was, and when she got out here, there were two carloads of armed people with gray jackets and specialists in the field of alcohol. And they looked at that permit and they said, "Your husband's running it awful close, isn't he?" Because that permit had come in the mail that day. So we made liquor again, and this time we poured it all in the creek, and everybody saw it during the festival that was here during the runoff. So,
I'm Don Sigmund down here at Hart Square. I'm the moonshiner down here. I'm going to show you how to make moonshine, how it used to be made. This is cornmeal. You got to take and make a paste out of it to seal the cap up on that. And I got a little leak up there, so I will patch it with it right now. You have to put this paste on here to keep the steam from coming out around it. All your steam wants to go in this barrel. That's where your whiskey comes from, your moonshine. And I'm going to put some more wood in her now and make her go to running. Okay, this here, I've got the fire built up good now. It goes into the thump keg here. And when it comes back to the top of there, it goes into this condenser here. It's a copper coil. It'll run around there till it cools off, and it'll come out the bottom right here. Catch it in this pot. And this still was one that originally started in the Willis family. Old man Lim, he's been dead, I guess, 35 years. It was his still. And he passed it to his boy, and his boy gave it to Doc Hart. It's been here since 1986. This is a 50-gallon copper still. It's got a hammered head on it, which is actually the dang cap. Its steel cap is a hammered one. It's made out of copper, but it's hammered out. It's not a rolled out thing, it's a hammered, real old. Over 100 years, I'd say. And this thing is starting to boil in the doubler, so it won't be long. It'll be coming through the coil into here. First off, you got to pour your mash in this still here. That cap comes right off. You pour it in. Mash is bran, peaches, anything with sugar in it that you want to, it'll distill to make alcohol. When this thing gets up to steam, the steam travels into the doubler here, which is the thump keg. And when it comes back out of here, it goes up this pipe here. That's hooked to the worm in this barrel here. And you'll have a moonshine running out here in this pot just in a couple of minutes. The worm is down in this barrel. The worm is a copper coil, 1 inch copper coil on the length of this barrel. Right here's where your moonshine will come out at. The mash barrel is set. We don't have one sitting here, but you've got one sitting up on the bank here behind it. You work this mash off for a week. You have to have sugar, bran, peaches, apples, whatever you're making. And it takes a week for it to work off, because when you first do it, it'll be a cap this thick on it. That cap will gradually go down. You got to stir it every day. When it gets down and ain't got that much cap, it's ready to run. Well, most of the moonshining was done because they had to make a living. You'd never seen a still hardly this big in them days. My dad's was a 7.5 gallon still. And he'd go there and make, him and my uncle, they'd make 2 gallons or 3 gallons of whiskey a night. And that's what they used for a week, you know. They'd sell that out in pint bottles. And they come up, you know, wasn't no money to it. It had maybe $20, but $20 were a lot of money back in them days. But that went to 2 families, you know. We growed our own corn, but some fellas would come by. They bought corn off my father for a long time to make corn malt out of. Corn malt is corn that you'll put in a sack, throw it in the water, let it sprout, take it out, grind it, dry it again, and that was the malt put on top of the mash to make it work. That works the same as yeast. Most of this poison stuff that they talk about on here was ATF people. They tell you that so you wouldn't be drinking it. But copper, the radiator, they solder them, you know, a little bit, but they're inside. I've heard tell people setting batteries down in the mash to make it work better. But that was to make you sick, I guess. A man wanting to sell his whiskey didn't give you that stuff. It takes you an hour and a half to get this still fired up to where it will run alcohol, you know. It takes about an hour and a half to heat the whole thing up, and then it will go to running. And you catch it over there, and if you want to, you can drink a little bit. The more you drink, the better you feel. When you're gonna temper your whiskey, the first comes out of this keg here. It's probably 170 or 80 proof. You just keep pouring it in a barrel, because you don't want to drink it that strong. And this here, the whole time it running, it gets weaker. It gets down to, it don't want to even bead. That's when you quit running the still and shut her down and get you a new batch of slop in it and blow that out into the creek. All you people want to see this, Doc Hart has a festival out here once a year. This year it's October the 24th. You have to have a ticket to get in, but he will sell you a ticket and we'll demonstrate how to do it for you. Been thousands of people seen it.